interlude, intermission before the race starts, just while I get the stream up. So if you are wanting to watch the race and you are watching post-race, you are more than welcome to skip to the intro, which should be hopefully in a couple minutes or so. If not, just skip ahead in the video and we'll find well, you'll find the intro at some point. It should be when everyone's ready up, so as soon as you get to that point, then make sure to stay watching and stay tuned, for it is looking to be a pretty good race. Welcome to the stream, the one singular viewer who has decided to join us. It's a pleasure to have you, and I hope you do enjoy the upcoming stream. We are hoping to get underway very shortly. Just as soon as everyone's in and we can get ready up, I'll get going with the intro. So stay tuned, guys, because it's looking to be a good one. Good evening, Todd. Lovely to have you. So again, guys, if you are watching post-race, do make sure to just skip ahead to the intro, and make sure you stay tuned for that. It's looking to be a good one. Obviously, don't want to make you sit around and wait for something. Skeptic is in. Welcome, Skeptic. Pleasure to have you, man. Just waiting for a couple more people and we will get going. Fingers crossed. That is the plan, to get going. Although it would help if we get going, but we don't talk about that. Hopefully we can get some good little highlights to go onto the TikTok, because, you know, we love getting hyped. How am I doing on this fine day? I am doing bloody fantastically, thank you, Skeptic. It's a pleasure to have you, and I hope you are doing just as well, my friend. It would help if I don't drop my controller as well. Again, that would also be very good. Everyone is here. Do make sure to leave a like on the stream, guys. It does help tremendously. And if we can reach 290 subscribers by the end of the month, that would be bloody brilliant. Well, actually 390 subscribers by the end of the month. That'd be incredible. Maybe even 400. Looks like we are going in underway, guys. So hey there everyone, and welcome back to the channel. And tonight we return for OBF1 and the second round of the championship. Since its inception last week, we saw a challenging race of attrition that tested the consistency and patience of the drivers as they negotiated the wet Albert Park circuit. Nonetheless, a great opening round and a dominant victory for Max, who sits top of the standings ahead of the Ferrari and McLaren close behind. So where do we venture today? That is of course to the luscious lights of Bahrain for round 2 of the OBF1 circus. A renowned circuit held dear to some drivers' hearts for many reasons. A great track that promotes great racing, almost as much as the government promotes washing your hands. Jokes aside, it is looking to be a thriller of a race tonight. 15 crucial corners, 5.4 kilometers and a time of 1:31.4 negotiates a lap of the Bahrain International Circuit, which of course will play host to tonight's proceedings. Who will reign victorious? Another dominant win or a fight to the very end? 18 minutes and 26 laps await us to find out, and of course it does. We just have to wait for a couple more people to load themselves in. Love the commentary, boys. It is, hopefully, fingers crossed. If all goes to plan, hopefully you'll be seeing me to do some more. Fingers crossed. We'll wait and see, Skeptic. But the job at hand is OBF1 as it stands. That is what we need to get our heads down and doing. Thank you, Skeptic. So it looks like it is dry proceedings for the qualifying. Qualifying very crucial at Bahrain. The strategy does play a massive factor here in Sakir. Could be very interesting. Obviously you could go for the medium tyres. Obviously you only get one run if you go for the medium tyres, so you want to sort of wait until the track is rubbered in, there's more grip available. You can use a lot more of the tyres, and you can see two people strapping on the mediums. You've got Max, who won in Australia last week. Let's see if he can replicate that success today. We'll have to wait and see. But 3 drivers opting for the mediums. Looks as though, in my personal experience, the medium to the hard strategy does work quite well around Sakir. Then again, the soft medium or soft medium does also work very well. Of course, you have to keep in mind that the tyre change rule. You have to keep in mind that they have to change compound. They can't just go mediums to mediums or soft to soft or hard to hard, whatever it might be. They have to change compound, which should be pretty obvious, but strategy nonetheless does play a massive factor in that. We were on board with Harv in the racing point, negotiating his way around the lap into turn 8, which leads into the downhill turns of 9 and 10. Hello, it's GT Racer. I'm not racing tonight because my PS Plus has expired. That is a shame, man, but it's a pleasure to have you on the stream and watching along and cheering on your favourite drivers. I'm sure you've got a favourite driver. We'll have to wait and see who you want to be cheering on, but on board with Harv, a very competent driver. He did show pretty well from what I've seen in his experience in the racing point for tonight on the red mark soft tyres, the quickest of the 3. Of course, you've got the soft, the medium and the hard. The soft being the quickest, it will wear out the quickest. The medium being a nice medium, the hard being the slowest, but it will wear out the slowest. That is the pretty much general rule for tyres. If it's red, it's fast. If it's medium, it's in the middle. If it's white, it's slow. DRS wide open, then the drag reduction system wide open as he comes down at this back pit straight and coming into turn 1. Want to be looking out for that 100 board down the gears as quick as he can. Trail braking, second gear to get the rotation. Goes a little bit wide, doesn't hit the apex as much as he'd have liked. Got to be very careful on the throttle. You can see gets a bit squirmy, goes off the track. Manages to keep the ball rolling though and doesn't invalidate as he goes up the hill and on the run into turn 4, where we saw a great overtake from Lando Norris back in 2019. Third gear to get the rotation. Looks like he's struggling a bit with understeer. Let's see what he can do. 28.1 to the first sector. Definitely not too bad at all. Through turn 7. Runs a little bit wide through the curb. Down the braking into turn 8. Want to brake as soon as you're straight. Use the track on the exit. Let the car run out wide to get the power as soon as you can. And downhill into turn 9 and 10. A very prone zone for lockups. Let's see if he manages to negotiate it well. He does indeed. Drag reduction system open once again. He's got the Renault right behind him on his flying lap as well. Be interesting to see what he can do coming down into turn 11. Got to chuck it in full commitment. 4th gear into turn 12. Which leads into turn 13. and you want to be braking as soon as that delta goes and resets. So obviously, as soon as it says 105, you want to brake. Purple to the middle sector, of course, as he is on his first flying lap. The first flying lap of the day into turn 14. Want to be braking as late as you can. Use the inside curb just a little bit, just a bit of a kiss. Not much though, as you will lose too much speed coming across the line. What's it going to be? 26.7. Definitely a very competent lap time, but JFC does go 5 tenths quicker with a 26.2. Very quick times out of the gate, nonetheless, for the drivers today, and everyone just letting themselves through. We've also, in the Mercedes, we've got Hawkeye in the Mercedes. We've also got Hawk Pie in the other Mercedes. The fairy tale story of two brothers in the same team. Not something you often see. Obviously, we saw Michael and Ralph Schumacher both in Formula 1, not in the same team, unfortunately, as that would have been pretty, pretty fairy tale if they were both at Ferrari winning championships together. But hopefully, the two Mercedes can suffice. Carl Hawkins, I would support the Merc. Well, we'll wait and see. We'll wait and see. So here we have Hawkeye setting up a hot lap. He needs to be quick. No, he's coming into the pits. So he's not going for a hot lap. He's coming into the pit lane. Okay, fair enough. We've got Pete on a hot lap. He's on the medium tyre, so going for that alternate strategy as it stands. He may change his mind as he goes through the session. We've got Harv goes even quicker with a 26.0. Very good time. And creeping closer to be the first one into the 25s, which will be a good benchmark to set himself at and compare the pace to. Just everyone needing to get themselves to grips. We've got Mitch in the Alfa Romeo. Again, another driver we saw doing very well last week. He's up there on the mediums, 27.3, about a second and a bit off, but on the medium tyres nonetheless, and into a provisional P3, so still a great time. Let's see what P can do as he rounds the final corner in the Haas, number 9 Haas. Very good livery, I must say, for the 2020 Haas. Too bad it's not as good on the 2021 car. Across the line, what's it going to be for his first run? P9, 28.3. Not the most particularly smash it out the park lap, but still a very good time to set himself on. Of course, personal improvement is better. And everyone just filtering their way back in. We've still got a lot of people to set up. We've got Hawkeye, the other brother, in the Mercedes tonight. Hopefully the Mercedes race tonight can go a little bit better than it did in Sakir in 2020. Setting up a hot lap, DRS wide open, and using all of that energy recovery system he possibly can as he crosses the line to start the lap. On the red mark soft tyres, you're going to be on optimal pace. 11 minutes left in the session. 100 board, breaking down the gears as quick as he can. Hit the apex, use the camber, use the dip in the track to turn the car, and uphill through turn 2 and 3. DRS again wide open on the run down into turn 4. Got to maximise this uphill speed because it is uphill and it will slow the car down if you get a poor exit. Third gear, use that curb on the inside as you can see him do. Try and straight line the entry into turn 6 and 7 as best he can. 28.3, definitely a good time compared to the likes of Harv up in front through turn 7. Down into turn 8, got to be very committed and try not to lock up. He does that very nicely with the trail braking, carrying the momentum in on the brakes, and into turn 9 and 10, got to be very smooth again. Very smooth transition, goes in a bit deep, that's going to compromise his run. Kimi though with a 25.4 to set provisional pole in the Ferrari. Very quick time from the man who again we saw very blisteringly quick in qualifying last week, and he's coming out of the gates and he smashed it out the parks already. Incredible stuff from the Ferrari. 6 tenths clear of the next nearest car. On the softs though, maybe could be his detriment in the race. We'll have to wait and see. Max, the last week's race winner in P4 on the medium tyres. Again, very good showing from the man who just kept it clean, kept consistent last week, and he did a very good job of that. So Hawkeye only managing P9 out of that run. Still, P9 is better than P10. That's the logic I'd go by. It's better than P10, it's better than P11, so still a good time. We've still got to wait for a few people to get themselves going. We've got Chris on the yellow marked medium tyres in the Williams. Again, a very nice livery on the 2020 Williams. Not as much on the 2021. I still quite like it, but the 20 Williams is a much better car, I must say. Hopefully it's a little bit slower than 21 car, because I'd like to see it a bit quicker, braking then into turn 1. Let's see what Chris can do. See how quick he is. Goes a bit deep through turn 1, has to compromise his run through turn 2 and 3 and not get on the power as efficiently as he would perhaps have liked. 9 minutes left in the session. We've reached the halfway point of qualifying. Mount the curb in second gear, not the quickest way through, but still a decent way through. Does go purple to the first sector. Not sure how convinced we can be by that, considering he's on the mediums and a 28.5 just by eyeballing it isn't purple. But nonetheless, we'll let Codemasters do what they wish. Coming downhill into turn 9 and 10, got to be braking, very committed. Slam on the brakes. Doesn't even need to trail brake, obviously using the ABS assist, which if he's quicker with it, then fair play to him, but you don't really need to trail brake as much with the ABS assist off. Coming down into turn 11, third gear, fourth gear to get the traction. Coming through into turn 12, 13, got to sweep it in. 106.7, not the quickest time through the middle sector, must have made a little bit of a mistake somewhere, which cost him just a bit of time. Welcome to the stream, everyone. 8 people watching. This is remarkable stuff. Nice to have you all, and I hope you are all enjoying it. So here goes Chris. DRS again wide open as he crosses the line. What's it going to be? It's going to be P11, better than P12, and very, very close between himself and Pete. 7 thousandths of a second separating the two cars. Remarkable stuff. The AlphaTauri in P6 on his second soft run. Let's see if he's improved to the first sector. He has half down. That's going to be less than ideal. He got 2 more sectors to make it up, and of course an extra run on the softs if he needs be. Got a racing point on the inside there, just moving up the way very nicely for the AlphaTauri. Also further up we have got Harv on a hot lap. He seems to be going a little bit slow. Is he going slow or is he pushing it? He is going slowly. Here's JFC Burrito setting up a lap time. Let's see what he can do. Down the gears, down into turn 1. Mount the curb, gives him a better run for turn 2 so he can straight line it. Bit sideways, having to correct the steering just a little bit. DRS again wide open. The drag reduction system, the rear wing flap opening to giving him an extra 20 kph of speed. Third gear through turn 4. Got to get that grip. Got to get that turning. That is vital for the run down into this. I can never do this. You never start. It's insane. Well, I appreciate that, Skeptic, man. I do stutter a lot of the time. It is difficult. It is difficult to keep it rolling. You sometimes find yourself repeating a lot of things, but you get there, and you keep it rolling. You just sort of find your way, find something to talk about, and yeah. But I appreciate the kind words, and I hope everyone at home, the 9 people watching, are enjoying it. It is a pleasure to have you all. Here's the Renault then. Has he improved on his lap? Yes, he has. Goes purple to the middle sector. Fastest of anyone on those red mark soft tyres. This could be a good lap for the Renault, who's only a 100th up on his time, but still an improvement is an improvement. Let's see if we can gain anything through the final couple of corners. Mounts the curb, has to go to the third gear. That's going to cost him on the exit, and he's going to come into the pits and abandon that lap, and I think that is probably the best idea. What's Broke Gorilla done? Then we haven't seen much of the Alfa Romeo. Mounts the curb on the inside. Definitely not something you want to do. Going to lose a lot of time and have to move out of the way for that. Here's last week's race winner of Max, setting up a hot lap. Got to set up a good exit. Uses the inside camber to help the car rotate. Obviously the camber will naturally move the car. It's like with Daytona and NASCAR. There goes Max. Very, very quick time. 25.7 I should say. Only 0.3 off Kimi, and the closest competitor to him so far. Still needs to improve if he wants to topple him, but Max, we've seen, is rapid in the race compared to anyone else. So the points are scored in the race. We'll have to see what he can do. 5 minutes left to quali and we'll be underway for the race. And let's hope it all goes well, all goes swimmingly, because Bahrain has had some, hosted some bangers for me in the past. Is this the legendary Zach Sweeney? Is that the legendary Lewis McGlade? The one who who is absolutely amazing with everything he does and can never do any wrong. I believe that is the correct Lewis McGlade that we all know and love. I'm sure it is. A very famous person in the chat, guys. Should all be swarming and asking for his autograph, because he is the most famous person going. Biggest sim racing commentator there is. He's got an award. He's got a laptop case as well. Here's Hawkeye though, purple to the middle sector, according to Codemasters. I'm not too convinced by that, unfortunately. Down into turn 14. Hawkeye not as committed as you would like. Currently says P13 on a 130.7. Let's see if he can improve. Shouldn't be too difficult of a task. Yes, he does. He goes up into P13. So he goes from P13 to P13. A great improvement then from the Mercedes, but does find a lot of time in himself, and that is the main thing. That is important, to find time within yourself. 4 minutes left of the session then, and we've got to wait and see what everyone else can do, because it's not over yet. We've got JFC Burrito confident. He can do it on the mediums. If he can, complete and utter fair play to him. We'll have a quick look at what he set his best time on. The best time was on a lap old soft tyres, so you know, still some fresh tyres if he needs them, but if he can improve on the mediums, then fair play to the lad. Will be a tough ask considering the mediums are very slow, or maybe he's just going out to get some extra testing on the track, get some extra mileage, get the experience in, maybe get a race run in quali. Makes sense. Maybe just use it as a bit of practice, so he's adjusted and acclimatized to the grip levels of the mediums when it comes to it. Waiting for the toe from Joao in the slipstream, then DRS wide open as he comes down the pit straight then to start what should be his final hot lap. I don't imagine seeing him doing many other runs. He comes down into turn 1, braking as late as he can, use the inside camber, dips it very, very nicely, does JFC, as he negotiates through turn 2 and up the hill through turn 3. Go on, Skeptic. Go for it. Down into turn 4, use third gear to get the rotation. He's in the slipstream, he's in the dirty air of Joao in front. He's only a tenth slower through the first sector, so doesn't actually lose too much time. Coming down into turn 8, got to keep it rolling, turns in early, promotes the understeer, but gets the car turned in enough that he can roll that understeer, roll that momentum through the corner, and now he'll have the slipstream of Joao in front to help propel him down this mini straight towards turn 11. Of course, Joao punching the hole down into turn 11. Fourth gear, going to have a bit of dirty air, but it shouldn't compromise him too much, I wouldn't imagine. We've got all three of the top three out on track, ready for their final runs in qualifying. 7 tenths down for JFC, and he's invalid through turn 13, so not the most ideal situation. We've got Kimi going for a hot lap, we've got Max going for a hot lap, we've got Harv going for a hot lap. This could be interesting, this could get spicy between the top three. We'll have to wait and see how this progresses, because, well, could certainly get close at the front. So where is Kimi? He's coming through turn 10. Harv is the closest one to the line, so he'll be the one to cross the line first. That would make sense. So we'll stay on board with the Racing Point on a bid for pole. Currently sits 6 tenths off it, and in P3 the start of the second row. Still not a bad place to be. It's a long run to turn 1. The slipstream and a good start can definitely get you up the grid, especially from third. So this is Harv's final hot lap of qualifying. What can he do? Down into turn 1, looking for the 100 board once again. Got to get that camber on the inside. Second gear, rolls it in nicely, uses it uphill, and as Lewis McGlade has said, it's a very tricky corner to get right. And up through turn 3, you have to be committed and have to get that throttle down early. If not, you can find yourself spinning or losing just a bundle load of time. But he negotiates the first sector pretty well. He's 3 tenths up through the first sector, and purple he goes. Already, it's going to be enough to see him up into P2. Let's see what else he can do, though. He's got 2 more sectors to improve. Goes a bit deep through turn 8, which isn't more ideal, but gets a bit back very nicely as he comes downhill through turn 9 and 10, which is still a very difficult part of the circuit to get right. Mounts that curve on the inside to get the car bit in and gets the power down very nicely. This is looking like a good lap from Harv in the Racing Point, who's now been knocked down to P4 as Max jumps him to P3 and Mitch GK has jumped him to P2. This is incredible stuff to see such a close top 4. Let's see what everyone else can do. There goes Harv, 4 tenths up, and Purple to the middle sector once again. He needs to find that little bit extra momentum through the final sector though and see what Kimi, Mitch, Max can do as they're all on to their final hot laps as well. This is Harv through the final corner. Let's see what he can do as he is on the run to the line. DRS wide open, gives him an extra boost. What's it going to be? Is it going to be provisional pole? No, it's not. It's only going to be provisional P2, which is still a very good result nonetheless. Is Max going to improve though? He currently sits about 2 tenths off him. Is he going to be enough? No, it's only going to be P3. Notches Mitch off. And it looks as though Kimi is safe. He invalidated his final run. So it looks as though he is going to be safe unless this Williams can get it up into the fight for the top 3. Maybe not. No, he's way off in terms of that. That's going to bring an end to qualifying. But what a close qualifying it was between P2 and P3. It's only a fraction of a second, which is just means everything. And the gap between first and second is less than a tenth of a second, which, you know, is a blink of an eye. It doesn't even take you that long to blink. And that is the time separating first and second. Just goes to show how crucial qualifying is. But just while we wait for everyone to return to the pits and get themselves sorted, we have a bit of time to breathe. We have a bit of time to go get a drink. If you are waiting in the chat, go get yourself a drink because we're in for a good race. Looks like the top 10 apart from JFC are all on the soft. So JFC the only one within the top 10. Actually no, everyone in the top 10 on the softs. So everyone going to be forced to start on the soft compound tyre. Everyone outside the top 10 but Joao on the softs as well, but it'll be interesting to see who opts for that alternate strategy considering they have the free choice of tyre. So we'll have to wait and see. Strategy can definitely play a massive factor. But of course it is all run on track. You have to be quick, you have to be smart, you have to be patient. Everything comes together in motor racing. $11 people watching. It's a pleasure to have you all. I hope you are all enjoying. Do make sure to hit the subscribe, hit the like button as well, and it is much appreciated. I appreciate the continued support, and hopefully we can be at 400 subscribers in no time. But that has been a pretty thrilling qualifying session, and we'll run through the grid order as soon as it actually decides to show the grid order, because Cody's once again not being too nice to us. So hopefully it loads. Fingers crossed. Oh no, it looks like we're going straight into the race. But we have plenty of time on the grid to go through the grid order. Looks like I missed it. Oh well. We certainly move. 12 people watching, so again, continued support is amazing. Looks like everyone has got the continued hype for OBF1. It's only his round 2 since its inception, so the hype's still there and the progression's still there. It's a pleasure to be here commentating on a new league and support the smaller guys. So this is where everyone is going to be getting their setups on, getting their final tweaks. Of course, Parc Fermé does limit what you can do. You can do tyre pressure changes, front wing changes, and some minor suspension changes. I'm pretty sure. But then the rest is down to the driver, the setup they put on in quali, the setup they feel most comfortable with. We'll have to wait and see what 26 laps of the Bahrain International Circuit brings as we go green for the formation lap. And Kimi is going to be starting on pole. He's going to head Harv, who rounds off the second row with Max starting the second, and Mitch rounding off the second row as well. Could be close between them for CDM in P5, Callum P6, JFC P7 and Broke P8, Chris P9, Peter P10, Craw in P11, Hawkpie P12, Joao P13, Ark P14, Hawkey P15, Jim in P16 and KVDPR rounding off the grid. This could get spicy amongst the top 4. This could get spicy amongst the grid. We saw some great midfield battles last week. Hopefully we can see a bit more at the front this week. So you can just see everyone getting their final preparations done. Predicted pit stop strategy, 2-stop from AWS. Soft, medium, or soft, medium. So doesn't look like it's too convincing for the 1-stop, but everyone outside the top 10 on the mediums going for that alternate strategy. Interesting amongst the midfield then to see the alternate strategy come through the field. If it does, it might not be quicker. We'll have to wait and see. But you can just see everyone weaving around like snakes, getting the final temperature, because when you warm up the tyre, warm up the rubber, it becomes more malleable, can absorb the lateral G-forces a lot more efficiently, and it has a lot more grip. It can change shape a lot easier, which allows it to absorb said impact and gives it a lot more grip. If it's stone cold, it's like you know, when your muscles are cold, it doesn't perform as well, and if they're too hot, they're too sloppy. So you have to get that nice median, that nice window, we call it, in motor racing. And here goes Kimi rounding onto the grid. Ark disqualified, so has to start from the grid, has to just go straight to the grid and can't complete his formation lap. A lot of drivers being disqualified through the final corner. But here is Kimi lining up onto the pole position on the left hand side. It will be the outside for turn 1 if he can't get it a good enough start. He needs a good launch in that Ferrari. He's got Harv, Max and Mitch all eager to get their way through, and I'm sure they'd love a taste of that Ferrari. Just waiting for the green light to be shown and we'll get underway and racing. This is it then, as soon as we get a good camera angle. Everyone eagerly sat on the grid waiting for the 5 red lights to come on. This is where the adrenaline starts to kick in. This is where it starts to sit in that this is the race. This is what you need to be waiting for. Hopefully we can get underway quickly. Here we go then to 5 red lights for round 2 of OBF1, and we're underway very quickly, and it's a great start for the Haas of Max, who's already alongside. Already alongside, they're going to be 3 abreast, all 3 of them, Max, Harv and Kimi down into turn 1. Kimi eager to hang on to pole position, so he's going to go up the inside of Max, who's going to hang it around the outside, gets forced out and the track taken away from him, so he's going to lose out to Harv and Mitch, who's found himself up into P2. So everyone looking very eager off the launch. The Haas looking to get himself back up the inside of the racing point. Has to pull back in though. Can't quite make the move stick on this occasion. Still going to be bumper to bumper to bumper are the top 4. Mitch with a great start. Already up 2 places and making the most. Anything happen in the midfield? Yes, there is. JFC finding himself up into P7. Broke Gorilla up 2 places and Hawkpie up 4. Great start from him to make the most of anything that has happened amongst the midfield. A great start from the Alfa Romeo as well. Up the front though, we've got Harv all over the back of Mitch. Probably in his best interest to stay with him, because Kimi has had an amazing start. Despite the poor launch, he's managed to recompose himself, get himself ahead and get himself going quickly in this race compared to the likes behind him. But Harv putting the pressure on Mitch. That Racing Point does have speed. He might have got caught up through turn 1, but he's got the speed. This could get interesting for P2 and P1 if they can stay with him. No DRS until lap 3, of course. This is Broke Gorilla looking to the inside of JFC through turn 13. Can't quite get the move to stick on this particular occasion, but Harv is going to have slipstream and ERS down this pit straight. Has so close to him through the final corner, or well, technically penultimate corner. He's got the overtake, he's got the speed, he's got the slipstream. Is it going to be enough down into turn 1? Kimi with the fastest lap, of course. We've got a lovely little timing glitch, which is certainly less than ideal, but down into turn 1 isn't going to be close enough to launch an attack on this particular occasion. A couple of people into the pit suffering from wing damage, unfortunately, and Chris being given a 5-second time penalty for a severe collision with Peter. That's something you often see going on. But on to lap 2 then of 29. That first lap always flies by, full of action, but looks like the top 4 have managed to stay stationed for the time being. No major mistakes and no major gap changes. Mitch just trying his hardest to stay with Kimi, the Alfa Romeo. He's trying to stay on the and the Racing Point and the Hash trying to stay on the back of each other as well. So close as half to the back of the Alfa Romeo. He is putting on the pressure so much. Doesn't have DRS just yet because it's not lap 3. It's just a more of a HUD graphical glitch. We've also got CDM still putting the pressure on the top 4 and definitely still up there in the Renault. So if he can stay within this lovely DRS train, he'll be in for a good shout, maybe of a podium if anything happens amongst the top 4. Top 3, anything can happen. We've still got 27 laps of this race remaining. And Harv isn't hesitating to use that ARS, and neither is Mitch. Already drained through over half of his battery already. And it's only lap 2. He needs to start saving and just stay within that DRS range. As soon as he's in DRS range, it'll become a lot easier. But his Max on the back of Harv. Has he got enough? He's not got the ERS as he crosses the line. He's been pushing to stay with them for the last couple of laps or so. He will have DRS starting this lap. Looks at the inside but can't quite close the gap enough under brakes. So you're going to have to sit behind Mitch. Just about hanging in DRS range to stay with the Ferrari, who's so close to breaking that boundary but can't quite get out of it. So this is only going to help Mitch stay with him and close the gap down the straights to stay with him. So the top 5 separated by nothing at all. And here is Arg on the back of Jim Strab as well. This is only for P9. So still a couple of points. If R can get in front, that will double his points total. On the medium tyres, remember, so still a lot to play for, and a lot and get interested amongst the strategical masterminds that are the drivers. They have to do everything. They have to engineer themselves. They have to, plan each other's strategy. They have to do it all, and of course drive the car. And it isn't easy as a sim racer to do so, I can tell you that much. But if you're outside the top 10, it definitely makes sense to strap on the mediums. Maybe if there's a safety car, you get a free pit stop out of it, and you'll be winning the race. Who knows? Here is still on the back of Kimi with Harv, Max and CDM, who's fallen off a little bit to the back of Max, so needs to try and claw himself within that 1 second range before the detection point. Has he done it? That was going to be very close. He might have just about got himself within that DRS range. He has just about. Drives himself off the track though, funnily enough. Is anyone close enough to launch an attack? That looks like Mitch is running out of energy recovery system to stay with the front runners. So just needs to make the most on pure pace. He's running out of energy, and this is all what Harv wants. He wants to siege him out. He wants to starve him, make him quench that ERS, because as soon as he runs out, it's hard to get it back. So Harv is going to prey on that. He's going to look to make Mitch vulnerable, put the pressure on now, and Mitch is going to be wanting to push, but managing to close to Kimi a little through the ES section, so he is over the back of him. Can he maybe set up a move into turn 11 if he gets a good enough launch? Up to 30% ERS, so managing to save a little bit through the middle sector. Down into turns 9 and 10, got to use that inside camber to get the car launched. Kimi doesn't get the most ideal exit, but neither does Mitch. Is it enough down into turn 11? Looks like he's just going to run out of time on this occasion, but definitely going to help him propel and set up the move maybe into turn 1 if he can keep it there. Harv as well looking to get in on the action. As soon as Mitch goes for it, he'll engage his ERS and put the pressure on as well. Nothing is set in stone. Harv with a bit of a slide through turn 13. Manages to save it though, luckily enough. Doesn't quite spin it on this occasion. It is a very difficult to save if you spin through turn 13. You can see all maximising the track through the penultimate corner. Technically, as this is the final corner, if you do 14 right, 15 isn't much of a corner, but Kimi already feeling the pressure, moving to the inside and back to the outside to break the slipstream. Is anyone going to set up a move? It looks like they're all going to sit station for the time being. CDM still with them all. Still on the back of Max, so putting the pressure on in the Renault. Bit of a sideways moment for Harv. That's going to cost him some time. Close enough. Certainly chipping away at the gap to Kimi and maximising every opportunity he gets with the ERS and DRS. Definitely does help, goes a long way. Through turn 7 and into 8. They are still so close, and anything can happen. It's just this DRS train is preventing anything from going on, but it is allowing Mitch to stay with Kimi, who can't quite break free from that DRS point. So everyone relying on Mitch to stay with Kimi, because if Kimi loses, if Kimi breaks out of that DRS range, so is everyone behind. But Harv's so close to the back of Mitch, still wanting to get through, but deciding it's probably best if he sits behind, doesn't battle with Mitch, and lets Mitch do all the dirty work for him, because, well, it's probably just smart gameplay to think, well, he's catching, there's no point racing, I'm not going to catch him at all quicker than he will. So it may just be best to sit behind, and there's probably the same with Max. Last week's race winner still in P4. Still some great points if he can take it home, and he's a lot closer on this occasion is Mitch. To the inside goes Kimi to defend, weaving around to cover it off. Has Mitch got enough? KVDPR has retired from this session. Is it going to cause a safety car? No. Mitch maybe going to get to the inside, but can't quite get it done. We've got a VSE, a full course yellow, so everyone having to adhere to a 40% race speed delta. Everyone having to slow down, and so close to everyone as he tries to funnel his way through and reach the delta. But hopefully we can get to green flag racing very soon, and good thing it wasn't a full course yellow, full course safety car, because that would not be good at all. And would, to be fair, probably favour the front runners, but Mitch very eager to get going. He wants to get going and launch the attack early. As soon as it goes green, we'll see when it ends, because he will get DRS when it ends. He is so close and just wants to set up a good launch off the restart. Looks like they are punching it. Are we going to go green? Yes, we are. We're back to green flag racing. They're very close. Is Max going to launch an attack on Harv? Looks to the inside. Can't quite make it come to fruition. There's a couple of drive-through penalties up and down the grid because of speeding under safety car. Max pretty sideways off the restart. Here's Mitch putting the pressure on Kimi, though. He's had a much better restart, a much better launch than the Ferrari in front. This could be the change for the race lead. Here he is in slipstream, in overtake. He's going to wait for the run into turn 1, though. He's a lot closer on this occasion. So is Max to Harv. They could probably go 2 by 2 down into turn 1. Mitch a lot closer to Kimi, though. And it is so putting the pressure on. Is that Kimi into the pits, though? Yes, it is. So he's going to bite the bullet and come in. Be proactive. And that is Mitch into the race lead. Pretty free. Here's Max on the back of Harv, who's looking to the inside. Max is looking where to go. He pulls to the outside, brakes as late as he can. Harv goes in a bit deep. Maybe able to get the car a bit back for a cutback. No. So you're going to have to sit back and use the DRS up the hill if he can. Harv a bit sideways. This could be Max's chance to the inside. The Haas on the racing point doesn't have the energy recovery system to propel himself forwards, though. Bit of a lock-up. Sends Harv in deep. He's going to look at that gap. He's going to get it to the inside. Is he? He looks to the inside of turn 6, but he's going to back out of that one and think better of it. So Mitch already out of DRS of these two to the inside. Is Max going to send it? Yes, he is. Lick it, stick it, send it up the inside. There's a bit of contact between the two as Harv can't quite get it cut back for a switchback. But Max up into P2 nonetheless, waiting to use that pace, and they need to be proactive. They need to be quick off this in-lap or whatever it might be. Half sent wide by Max's attempt and goes in a bit deep through turn 10. So where has Kimi come out? He's come out in traffic, importantly, for the front runners. He has to negotiate his way through to the inside of the Red Bull. Sends it up the inside. Isn't taking any chances. Isn't waiting around. He needs to get these moves done now so he can get himself up and make sure he doesn't get overcutted by the guys at the front, who should be coming in fairly shortly. Those soft tyres don't be looking too good whatsoever. Who's into the pits this particular lap, then we'll have to wait and see. Yeah, they are all into the pit lane on this particular lap. We have got Callum on the inside of Crowix. The Williams versus the AlphaTauri. Can't quite get close enough. There's Crowix, though, with a lot of overspeed on the Mercedes. Looks like these guys having a nice little tussle. But the top 5 all into the pit lane on this lap. So Jim Strav is going to take the lead of the race. Max onto the softs, going for the double soft stint. Where is Kimi? Kimi's coming round. He's got a massive undercut on these guys. And Mitch coming out. Is he in DRS range? Yes, he is. Comes out ahead of the Red Bull. He's actually just out of DRS range, in fact, on those fresh medium tyres. So the proactive strategy working well for the Ferrari, who has managed to get out of that DRS range, the thing that was keeping them in this race. And Crowix under pressure down the inside of the Williams, going to be committed. 2 by 2 they go. Bit of contact between the two as Callum goes around the outside. There's the AlphaTauri trying to stick it, and the Alfa Romeo still on the back. Goes way off the track to try and overtake him. Crouch isn't having any of it. Squeezes him to the inside. Goes the Alfa Romeo. He goes in very deep and he's over the curb and smacks into the side of the Williams. No damage done. Who's going to squeeze him and try and put him into the wall? But they're still going to be side by side racing for P9 as if it's the last lap. And he's been spun round into the gravel, into the wall nearly, but manages to keep it out. And that is not something you like to see, causing incidents left, right and centre of the midfield. And straight into the wall goes Brett Gorilla. Going to put himself out of the race. And brings out a safety car. Brilliant. And that's someone else into the wall. That's a Williams into the wall as well. Was that Callum into the wall? No, it's the other Williams. Who is the other Williams? I believe it was Chris. Chris into the wall as well. So a safety car is out. This is going to be a massive, massive implications for Jim Strav, who's going to get a free pit stop onto the safety car, not lose virtually any time whatsoever because of it, and come out right with the front runners who have just pit. So Max is going to take the chance and come into the pits as well, maybe for some Haas to the end. So we're going to strap on those medium tyres, which a stretch could go to the end maybe if he saves them. It would be a very big ask of those mediums though. So Max coming in and probably going to go medium again. 2 more medium stints, or 1 more medium stint after this one I should say, which could definitely work. He'll be on the same strategy as the guys in front. So just queuing up behind the safety car, having to crawl around at the safety car speed, which I'm sure they're not going to want to do. They want to be eager. They're itching to go back to racing, I'm sure. But the race is on pause for the time being. Not much is going to happen under safety car, so do go get yourself a drink, go get yourself a cup of tea, whatever it might be, to enjoy the rest of the race. So just while the race is on pause, it's been not the most action-packed race so far, but definitely some drama up and down the field with people crashing themselves into the wall or whatever it might be. Definitely action up and down the field. It's been a pretty tricky race for a lot of people, being so tight at the front. So do make sure to go and get your mid-race beverages, whatever it might be. We're actually a third of the way through the race, I should say, but roughly a third. So just waiting for everyone to queue up behind the safety car. Not many pit stops under safety car. Max, of course, in for some fresh mediums, but pretty much it otherwise. JFC in for some fresh hards. Arg in for some fresh softs. Callum in for some fresh softs. Actually, quite a lot of people in for some fresh tyres, which could be interesting towards the end of the race. See how the strategy affects how things play out. Very close to the back, everyone. Looks more like a traffic jam on the A47 than much else. So safety car in this lap. This is what the drivers have been waiting for. So Kimi does become the effective safety car. He's the one that controls the pace up until the timing line, lets the safety car get ahead. Pete's been given a 5-second time penalty, which will not help his case one bit. Leaving around like snakes, getting the final temperature into the tyres, ready for the restart is the Ferrari with the Alfa Romeo and the Renault close behind. CDM on the fresh tyres up into the podium places. When is Kimi going to punch it? He needs to wait. He needs to wait as long as he can. He's got a long run to turn one. He's punched it. We're back under green flag racing and away we go for the second half of the race. Half all over the back of CDM, wanting to get off to a good restart in overtake. Can he get it to the inside? Is Mitch going to launch an attack on first place as well? Has a look. There's the racing point to the inside. Up the inside he goes. Side by side they go. 2 by 2 is the Haas as Max get himself up the inside of the Haas. But there goes the racing point, sent spinning around from contact with CDM, who was eager to hang on to that P3 position, and he does so. But Max still side by side with the Renault into turn 4. The Haas on the inside of the Renault manages to get it done, and JFC down into P5, and splitting the 2 Renaults now is the Max, and a nice little Haas sandwich amongst the bread. But there's the race leader wide. There's Kimi wide, and he's off and down into P3. He's still side by side with CDM, but he's got the pressure now. He needs to be on the front foot. He needs to get himself back ahead. Bit of contact with CDM, who's been so aggressive defending his positions. Forced off the track nearly is the Renault as he tries desperately to hang it around the outside. Here's Kimi, still side by side with the Renault, with the Haas eager to follow him through. To the inside goes the Haas, committed on the inside. It's the Haas, and there he goes. There goes Max up into the P3 position, and still side by side. Still are they through turn 13? No way are they holding this. Around the outside goes Max, still going to be the outside once again for the next right-hander, but still interlocking wheels and hanging on there bit by bit, and Kimi just about managing to hang on for P2, but he's got his work cut out for him. He needs to get himself back in front and back into the fight for the race lead. 1.5 seconds is the gap between him and Mitch, but Max into the pit lane, must have had a bit of front wing damage sliced off maybe. I'm not entirely sure what's been going on there, but Max definitely coming into the pits for something. It was some remarkable racing between himself and JFC. So close between the two. But Kimi's got his work cut out for him now. He has to be on the front foot. He has to get himself back into that fight. And he's going to bring CDM with him so long as CDM can stay with him and stay in the slipstream. There goes the Williams on the inside of the Red Bull. Needs to be committed on the brakes. Does it nicely and very nice. But the Red Bull gets a nice cutback and going to be side by side into turn 6. Going to think better of it and back out of that one though. And probably wise thinking from the Red Bull to not fight that one too harshly. Back at the front though. 4 tenths separate them. 6 tenths is the gap. We've also got Jim Strav on the back of Pete, who has got a couple of penalties. So going to be looking to get himself up the inside. Kimi slowly chipping away at the gap between himself and Mitch. Just needs to be a bit more committed, get himself up, you know, a couple more tenths each lap. As long as he can get himself within that 1 second range, he should find itself to chip away a lot quicker. Just needs that extra couple of tenths, and he looks like he's doing that pretty efficiently. 1.1 seconds now the gap. Just going to miss out on DRS on this occasion. Is he going to have DRS on the run up into turn 4 though? That is the question. Harv and Callum having a bit of a ding-dong battle. The racing point sent wide once again. And having to retreat and back off the track. So it looks like he's had a bit of a mare. Now a part of a racing point bred with a Williams filling. CDM still on the back of Kimi, who's 1.2 seconds now off the back of Mitch. Slowly chipping away, but lost a bit of time through that first sector as we approach the halfway mark of the race. Joao on the back of JFC, wanting to get himself up into P4, but can't quite get the launch of turn 10 he would have liked. Here's the Williams on the racing point though, to the inside, very committed up the inside on the soft tyres. Bit of a lock-up, forces the racing point wide. There's his teammate, had a look up the inside, but been more scared off and reset to track. Has the racing point, not something that's particularly allowed. but does it anyway to get himself going. I'm sure he's going to be very frustrated with himself after that crucial mistake that could cost him a good position. Harv, of course, fighting for the race lead at one point, now down into P11, which is definitely not what he would have wanted one bit. Jim Strav on the back of Peter, who's on the back of Arg. All of them trying to filter their way through nicely. Jim Strav, can he get himself to the inside? It'll be a bold move, but he pulls to the inside early. He has got the speed to get it to the inside. Squeezes him, does Peter. But up the inside, bit of contact with the Red Bull, and the McLaren's been sent round. Max with the fastest lap, 29.8, and the McLaren saved that very remarkably nicely. In all fairness to him, very nice Tokyo drift, and he's going to be trying another attempt to get himself past Peter because he needs to do that. He needs to recompose himself, get it back on quickly, get his racing hat on. Haag goes in a bit deep to the inside. Don't commit. Does the Haas and McLaren. Still on the back though, and Kimi still isn't closing the gap as much as we would have liked at the front. Joao on the back of JFC, who pulls to the inside early to defend. That's only going to cost him time though, and he isn't going to have the overrun. He's going to go off the track, almost scared off by Joao, and to the inside. Is he going to just let him through? Yeah, it looks more like he's just let him through there. There's Peter up the inside of Arg, who's been scared off the track. Jim gonna follow him through. Nice racecraft from the McLaren to think, well, if the Haas is coming through, I'm coming through as well. Takes that opportunity, grabs it by the balls and gets himself up the inside and on the charge for P7. A nice bit of points if he can do so. He's in the DRS, he's definitely got the pace. He proved last lap he could get himself past. Goes to the inside to spot his braking point down into turn 14. Needs a good launch, gets the power down nicely. He's in the slipstream, he's in the DRS, he's in the ERS range. Prime stuff to get a move done. Peter having to conserve energy. Can Jim get himself to the inside? Peter parks it nicely to the middle, so Jim is going to have to go even deeper to the inside. Is committed. Peter forced off the outside, and Jim up into P7. A lot cleaner done this time than it was perhaps on the previous attempt, but he's gotten through and he's gotten himself up into P7, and that is certainly the main thing. Callum on a madness on those soft tyres though. Will have to pit soon compared to the likes in front of him, but while he's got this pace, he's doing very well on those soft, on the back of CDM. And down into turn 9, this is probably where he'll find a lot of time made up. Bit of a lock up from the Williams. Run down into turn 11. Can he get it into turn 11? Going to think better of it. Doesn't want to send a move from this far back. Would be pretty stupid even with the tyre advantage. Doesn't want to risk anything on this occasion. Wouldn't put it past Callum though. Nonetheless, jokes aside, he is on the back of CDM and still putting the pressure on maybe to get himself onto the podium. CDM has proven though he won't give it up without a fight. Callum already with the overspeed and looking into the penultimate corner to take DRS as well as the position. He's going to snatch that away from the Renault, who's going to stick it around the outside on the medium tyres and fighting this to the very end. But Callum with DRS and ERS should, in theory, soar past the Renault, and that is exactly what he's going to do. And CDM hopeless to defend, maybe though. Callum weaving all over the place, still under pressure. CDM could have the counter-attack with DRS down into turn 4, if so be it. Looks like he's just lost too much off the exit though on this particular occasion to actually launch an attack, unfortunately. But Mitch has done a very good job of controlling this race since Kimi's mistake. He's definitely been doing a very good job. He's pulled the gap ahead of Kimi, who may have just lost composure, lost confidence in himself to push now after that mistake. But nonetheless, Kimi, yeah, really struggling compared to his early stint pace, and isn't at all what we expected him to be doing. The pole sitter was commanding the first half of the race, but now on the back foot. Will Mitch make a similar mistake? We'll have to wait and see. 3-car train going on for P5 here. Renault powered cars and a Mercedes powered car, all in a tangent for P5. Bumper to bumper to bumper. Jim, we've seen, has got some pace. He's found himself up into P7. He's closed up to P6 and 5, and this could get very close. All pretty much equal apart from JFC, who's got a lot of ERS saved up and on the hard tyres. Jim in theory should be a lot quicker with his medium tyres, but we'll have to wait and see. Here's the Renault in DRS and slipstream. to the outside, should sail past the racing point, and so should Jim. Looks to the inside, Joao does, sends it, JFC gives him the room, bit of contact between the two. Jim doesn't know where to go to get himself through, just tries to negotiate his way through nicely, but JFC up into P5 on his fresher hard compound tyres. And not much Joao can do to defend. He's on a mad one, he's going fast, and JFC is just flying. We've got CDM still on the back of Callum as his soft tyres do degrade a lot quicker than the mediums. They do hit a cliff a lot quicker. Joao very sideways coming out of turn 8. Jim's going to take the opportunity, look to the inside. It'll be a bold move to send it up the inside of turn 9 and have the inside for turn 10. Bit of contact as Joao is pushing him through turn 10. This could allow Peter to get involved with DRS and overtake. He's going to get the racing point as well. He's going to take the pickings of a vulnerable racing point, and up the inside goes the Haas. Very nicely done from the man to get himself up into P7 on track. It won't be on timing sheets, but around the outside goes the racing point again. He isn't going to give this up without a fight. There's contact between the two, and is that Pete sent into the wall? He's managed to get it going again, but he's lost a massive chunk of his front wing, and so is Joao, who tried to stick it around the outside. Always going to ask for disaster, really, and then Max getting himself asked. Who hasn't been having the best of races, either of them. And into the pits comes the Haas. No blame there at all. CDM still with Callum and putting the pressure on. And he is very much putting the pressure on, so it looks like Callum's tyres are very much degrading compared to the mediums. Of course, they do hit a cliff a lot quicker. The mediums have a nice, calmer transition. If it was plotted on a graph, the mediums would be a nice curved slope down, whereas the softs would hit a very abrupt end in grip. And that is the cliff that Callum is hitting now. He's having to nurse these tyres, going on for 8 laps. That is pushing it for the softs on grip. Not something you often see, but saving those tyres very nicely. And doing a remarkable job of keeping the pace where it is. Kimi matching the pace of Mitch, and Mitch doing a great job up in front. Of course, the two leaders still duking it out. Anything can happen between the two. Maybe in the final stint, will Kimi bite the bullet and go for some soft tyres, or will he be safe and go for the mediums? We'll have to wait and see. It could be the strategical mastermind that plays off. But Callum into the pits, and is that CDM going to follow him through? Safety car, that's the best timing for Callum to go in for the safety car. Everyone going to be neutralising. Callum into the pits. Everyone else, though, is going to be already past the pit lane. So safety car out as Half has retired from the session. Crazy, crazy stuff. 2 safety cars and a VSC already, and we're on lap 19 of 29. But that could not have been perfectly timed for Callum, who's now going to come out in P5, and on the fresh tyres. This could play into his hands very nicely for the youngster in the Williams. So neutralised once again. So again, guys, this is the 2/3 of the way through. Go get a drink message. So if you do want to go get another drink, off you go. Go refill. Go get your popcorn ready for the final third of the race. Mitch into the pits, and so is Kimi. The two leaders deciding it's best to box, but what are they boxing for? Are those red mark soft tyres? Of course they are. Peter disqualified from the session, interestingly enough, not something you often see. But importantly, Kimi doesn't get held up by the Renault of CDM, who's coming in for a fresh wing and medium tyres. so not confident that the softs will go to the end. Where does Callum sit in all of this though? Where is he going to come out? He's jumped Crowix. Is he going to jump the Renault? Yes, he is. So the race on standby. Basically a massive pause button has been pressed. Everyone gets to bunch up. This is everyone's second chance. The 11 runners left in this race. And Mitch will lead the way. Kimi on the fresh softs as well. This is equal pegging between two tyrants at the front, both in Ferrari powered cars, both on the softs, both eager to win. The final 10 laps of this race are not going to be short of action, I can tell you that much. Callum as well has shown some pace, so is CDM. Safety car in this lap. We're getting going, we're not waiting around, ladies and gentlemen, for the final third of the race, the final 10 laps. Mitch leads ahead of Kimi, with Callum and CDM both eager to get their way through. The other Renault of JFC as well looking to get involved. We've seen Max with some great pace cutting his way through the field. This is what everything's been boiling down to. No strategical masterminds, nothing. Equal pace between the two tyrants at the front. And he's punched it early. We're going back to green flag racing very quickly. He's caught him out though, has Mitch, and he's got a great restart ahead of Kimi, who was expecting him to hold it a little bit longer. He could be under pressure from Callum, who's looking to get himself up into the top two already in the slipstream and in the ERS. It isn't going to be enough on this particular occasion. To the inside, licks it, sticks it, send it up to the inside, doesn't get it stopped. So Kimi's going to get a nice little switchback manoeuvre side by side through turn 2 of the 2, and there's Callum off into the wall. Callum's been sent round and he's retired from the session, has the Williams, and that is very unfortunate, but what more could you expect going that deep on the brakes through turn 1? And Kimi very desperate to hang on there and get himself back up into P2. He needs to stay within P2 so he can stay within the DRS range, but he goes a bit sideways. He might lose out because of this. Goes very wide, does Kimi, and that's going to cost him time to Mitch, who's had the perfect restart. This is exactly how it is playing out in his head, that people would battle behind him and allow him to get away. JFC looking eager to get past his teammate though. Bit of a tap on the back. Manages to hold the Tokyo Drift through there though. He's a lot closer. He's got the overtake. Can he get it to the inside? Two Renaults fighting side by side into turn 11. Gonna think better of it and pull back and think better of that one and back out of it. But still, nonetheless, very eager to get himself past and up into the top 3. I'm sure he wants the podium. So does Jim Shab and so does Max, who are both closing in quickly behind. VSC has been deployed for debris on the track. Max been given a 3-second penalty for multiple warnings. Another penalty and another neutralisation of the race. So another pause on the race. The two Renaults are still battling it out and both eager, but JFC is on the soft. You'd expect him to be quicker. We'll go back green once again. It's a great restart from Mitch, who's controlled the pace ahead of Kimi. No DRS until the third lap after the restart, of course, so we got another lap to wait for DRS just yet, but JFC is still putting the pressure on. Max still there, Jim still there, still with them all and still wanting to get themselves through, but he has to wait for JFC to launch the attack. CDM has been holding on so brilliantly despite all the pressure thrown at him. Down into turn 9, no DRS of course down this back straight. Joao up in front of Arg down in turn 8. We did quite miss the move, but I'm sure it was remarkable. Into turn 11, Hawkeye being given a 3-second penalty. Kimi into the DRS just of Mitch in front. Needs to just creep inside before the detection point. There's another virtual safety car. Not sure what this one's for. Maybe just another glitch, maybe some debris on the track, but there's a VSC nonetheless on lap 22. This is weird. Certainly is very weird. So everyone just needing to adhere to that delta, keep themselves below it. Ooh, near contact between the two Renaults. That was very, very close to disaster as he tried to keep himself below the delta. Hopefully we can get back to green flag running soon, because Kimi is eager. He's itching to go. He's all over the back of Mitch. He's saying, come on, green flags. Let's get it going. And let's get this race back underway, because Kimi doesn't want to be sitting around and waiting. He still wants a chance of this victory. Just needs an ideal restart to get it going. Be interesting to see when we get back and underway for green flags. And there we go, we're back underway for green flags. The McLaren has a great restart already, back up the inside of the Haas to claim P5 once again. The two Renaults still duking it out. There's Max on the outside, side by side through turn 10. They were still only for P5, but still fighting out very nicely. On the outside of turn 11, goes off the track to go around the outside. The McLaren going to squeeze him out though and take the racing line and hang on to P5 very nicely. Of course, done by Jim Strav to hang on to P5. Here is JFC on the back of CDM. He needs to get through before his tyres wear. Doesn't want to do it here though, because he'll lose DRS, but he's going for it. He's got the overspeed, pulls to the inside regardless. CDM could have a good chance at a counter attack with the DRS down into turn 1. Sets up a cutback. Yellow flash through sectors 2 and 3. I believe that's Hawkey that's gone round through turn 13. They're going to be bumper to bumper to bumper to bumper. Are the 4 cars from 3rd down to 6th, but CDM launching the counter attack. He's all over the back of his teammate. Can he send it up the inside? Gonna think better of it. There goes Jim Strav on the inside of CDM though, and pushes his way through for P4. Bit sideways on the exit though, and there's the Renault and the Haas both going to follow their way through and filter themselves up a free position, as Jim was very, very eager. There's Max up the inside of CDM, who's going to go around the outside, but he can't quite get it stuck, so the McLaren could have a look, but Max on a charge now and want him to get himself up into the top 3, and that's exactly what he's trying to do. He has got a penalty to contend with, of course, but Kimi up in front is just hanging in with that DRS range, just out of it. Has he got it? He hasn't got it, unfortunately. So Kimi running out of time, running out of opportunities to stay within the DRS range. Down into turn 11, Max really pushing to stay with the JFC, and CDM really pushing to try and stay with Jim Strav and the Haas of Max, but it looks like this battle is sort of filtered out, and Max trying to get on himself onto the podium, I should say. So he has got DRS, but he hasn't got the closing speed to match it. And down into turn 1 won't have enough of momentum to carry that force into the corner. So he's also running thin on ERS, the energy recovery system that helps propel him in the overtakes. He's running low and needs to recharge it when he brakes. As soon as he brakes, that heat energy, that kinetic energy, that's then transferred into thermal energy and gets, used to power a chemical store in the battery that gives them an extra 140 brake horsepower, which does a lot of stuff. But he just needs to make sure he can maximize the braking and maximize the throttle pedal and the overtake to close the gap. He's still in DRS, he's still latching on by the skin of his teeth to stay with him, but JFC Burrito, if he keeps on with exits like that, he won't even need to worry about ERS, because those exits are remarkable. And as long as he can keep them up, I'm sure we'll see him on the podium, because Max just cannot compete. And Jim Strav even closing up because of Max's poor exits. The race winner down into P4 could still be leading the championship though, depending on how many more positions he can gain or lose because of the penalties. DRS wide open for Max. Is it enough? He's running thin on ERS. Isn't going to be enough. Looks to the inside, but isn't going to be able to brake late enough. Brakes so late though, and closes the gap to JFC. Needs the run on the exit though. Loses the car a little bit. So does JFC. DRS, is it enough down into turn 4? Isn't going to be enough down into turn 4, unfortunately, for the Haas on the back of the Renault. Running out of time, running out of opportunities, but he is a lot closer than he was a couple of laps previously through the S section. And Jim Strav looking to get involved as soon as they start battling Max with some amazing pace, but being let down through strategical faults, maybe some just some pure driving errors or whatever it might have been. He's been let down, but the pace has definitely been there for Max throughout the race. JFC and Jim Strav though, both been remarkable all race long to put themselves into the position they're in. Running out of time though, 26 to 29, 3 laps of the race remaining. Picks himself up a 3-second penalty. Max going wide through turn 13. And Kimi into the DRS range. Is it enough though off the exit? No, it's not. It wasn't during the detection point, so all of that has been undone unfortunately. But Max in DRS, he's got just a bit of ERS to hang on, but he's not going to have enough. JFC having to save the closing speed. He's closing. Looks to the inside. Is it going to be enough? Under brakes? No, it's not. And Max going to have to sit behind once again. Needs a good launch of turn 2. Maybe a mistake from JFC. He is closer. He has got DRS. Is it enough to get him to the inside though? Looks to the inside, late on the brakes. He's going to go for it. Sees it as opportunity. JFC gets a bit scared by it, and Max going to be all over the back of him. Very nice save from Max to catch that slide. That was a big moment, but manages to hold it on. And JFC still in front, but Jim Strav still behind, and everyone's still trying to Constantina their way through onto the final couple of laps. 27 to 29. We've got about 2.5 laps of the race remaining. And it still dwindles down to this. Mitch ahead of Kimi, ahead of JFC, who's being under pressure from Max for the last few laps, who's been under pressure from Jim for the last few laps. This is what it's been all going down for. And coming on to the penultimate lap very shortly. The second to last lap, Cranu on at the back of Joao as well. This could get spicy between those two. Max needing to save a little bit more ERS through the middle sector. He's not going to have a lot to attack with down into turn 1 if he keeps up like this. Brakes as late as he dares. He's going to have 10%. He is close. JFC running low on ERS as well to the inside to break the toe and defend. Pulls to the outside once he realises it's safe, but we've seen Max be very close on the brakes. Yes, he is. He's going to go for it up the inside. JFC gives him the room. Bit of contact between the two. He's going to be on the outside. It'll be the inside for turn 2. The Haas again around the outside leaves him to dry as JFC gives him way too much room, and this could give Jim Strav the run he needs maybe to get up the inside of the Renault. He's going to go for it. Let off the brake. Bit of contact between the two. One of them sent spinning. JFC spent spinning, and Jim Strav up into P4. Bit of contact between the two. Cost him that, and this is Maxwell's opportunity to get himself up. He's got 6 seconds. It could be a big ask to stay on the podium, but definitely doable. We've also got Kimi, who has secretly managed to get his way up into DRS range of Mitch on the penultimate lap. This could get very spicy as well. We haven't seen it all. We've got a lap and a half left to go of this race, and it is still boiling down to the final couple of corners. So around about 16 corners left of the race remaining. There's been a spin. Has that been Max? That has been Max. Max is round despite everything he's just done to get himself through. He's been spun round. He spun himself round coming out of there, but nonetheless we have to go back to the fight for the race lead because he's got more ERS. He's got the DRS, and he will have the slipstream down into turn 1. Is it going to be enough for the final lap? Has he got the closing speed? Remember, he has got another DRS range. This is the final lap of the race. 29 to 29. It's all been boiling down to this. Kimi on the back of Mitch. He's been pushing so hard. Mitch just about managing to get it stopped. Gets the exit he needs, and Kimi running out of opportunity. He needs to launch the attack on this occasion now, but he's just not closing enough. He hasn't got the energy store left in his battery to manage to compete, but he's got one more DRS zone left of this race, and that'll be it. He needs to stay with him through the S section, otherwise Mitch will hang on to take the first race win of the season. Down into turn 8, got to go full lock, get the car bit in, bit sideways as the tyres are degrading. This could also play a factor. Maybe a mistake from tyre degradation could cost one of them the win here. Kimi very, very slow off the exit. He's got the ERS, he's got the DRS. Is it enough? He's got a lot of ground to make up in a short period of time. It could be a bit asked. Just needs to be careful. Mitch a bit sideways, pointing it in a straight line through turn 13. And down into turn 11. ERS, is it going to be enough? Final couple of corners of the race. Kimi needs to get everything, but he hasn't got enough. Through thick and thin, Mitch puts his car where it needs to be. Kimi a bit sideways coming off, but he is going to be the race winner for round 2 in Bahrain. Mitch across the line ahead of Kimi, who finishes P2, and Jim Strav through thick and thin, battling amongst the top guys, comes across the line in P3. What a drive from the McLaren ahead of CDM, who may or may not finish in P4. He's not. His teammate's going to pit him. JFC pits him to P4, and Max across the line P6 ahead of Joao in P7. But Crow, with no penalties, will take P6, and we're going to wait for Hawkey. Arg already finished because he didn't finish on the lead lap. So Hawkey through the final corner. And that was round 2. So the Alfa Romeo taken to the top step after a fierce fight for the entire race distance, and he lifts the top step and lifts the trophy today and sprays the champagne, the well-deserved champagne, and I'm sure he's going to be enjoying that one. And this could get spicy for the championship. 2 races, 2 different race winners, and Mitch takes the top step ahead of Kimi, the pole sitter, who once again couldn't convert pole to the win, but still a P2 finish. I'm sure he's not complaining. Jim Strav from P16 on the grid to P3, and JFC Burrito coming in P4, CDM P5, and Crowox in P6. Max P7, Joao P8, and Hawkle P9, with Arg rounding off the finishes in P10. Callum, Harv, Hawkpie, Broke Gorilla, Chris, KVDPR, and Pete rounding off the non-finishers. A lot of non-finishers, but a lot of action in today's race. Be a shame that there wasn't as much action as we perhaps would have liked, but towards the middle and end stage of that race, it definitely got spicy, especially with the safety cars. Nonetheless, guys, I hope you have enjoyed watching at home. This has been OBF1 Tier 1 Round 2 at Bahrain, and I hope you have enjoyed. I've been Zach Sweeney, and I'll catch you next time. Bye-bye.